Most kids love a glass of apple cider, but in America, at least, the tradition of fermented alcoholic ciders has been relatively unknown. Our food reporter says a former beer brewer from Chicago is trying to change all that.
It's our Friday night special. Steve Dolinsky here with the taste.
Got to be 21 to enjoy this cider, Ellen, Kathy, but it's great. Now, ciders by nature tend to be sweet, and if you were to drink the freshly pressed juice from Michigan apples, it would be deliciously sweet. But add some yeast to it, then ferment it in steel tanks or oak barrels, and you've got something along the lines of what they've been drinking in Europe for centuries. Wine and beer are no strangers at Lula Cafe in Logan Square, but the addition of an artisanal fermented French-style cider called La Pinette has the kitchen excited about the food pairing possibilities.
Crisp, a little yeasty, but in in that delicious like sourdough way, and it has true like apple expression.
A few miles south in Wicker Park, the Carriage House offers a dry English-style draft cider called Red Streak, which also pairs exceedingly well with its low-country cuisine like fried chicken and pickles.
I like the cider because, like I said, of that tart acidity. Our food tends to be a little bit more rich, and the acidic nature of the cider really cuts through that.
Both of these tart, dry ciders are coming from southwestern Michigan near Fenville at the relatively new Virtue Cider Farm, the brainchild of Goose Island's former brewmaster.
This is what they used to call the fruit belt, where they would grow fruit specifically for Chicago.
Hall is embarking on a branch-to-bottle strategy. Heirloom apples like Newtown Pippins, Northern Spies, and chiseled Jerseys come from all over Michigan, where the mill turns them into pulp. Pulp is guided into an accordion press, which literally squeezes out all the juice.
The juice we just pump right out into the bottom of one of our fermenters. Right now we'll just hold the juice, and then later we'll add yeast and let it ferment out and turn it into cider.
For Red Streak, Hall combines 3 different ciders with as many yeast strains, aging it a few weeks in stainless steel. In the case of the La Pinette, the juice ages with French yeast in French oak for 3 months. The process is a lot like winemaking.
Almost all the great ciders are a blend of multiple ciders. That's how you kind of build those layers of flavor. We're looking for flavor and aroma, but we're also looking for sugar content, high sugar to make our alcohol. We're looking for acidity, so low pH, and we're looking for tannin,
which gives the cider a bitter finish. Hall is already in the process of building a second fermenting facility and planting thousands of trees here, hoping to turn this part of the state into a mecca for high-end agriculture.
We think that Southwest Michigan, because of all the rain we get from the lake, is really just about the best place to grow stuff.
And for more information about where to get Virtue ciders, just go to our website, abc7chicago.com, or call my info line, 312-750-7096. Very food-friendly.
We want some now.
It's delicious, yeah.
Quite a business. All right.
We all know that chefs can use spices and herbs to help add flavor to any dishes. They can also use things such as butter or cream to add richness.
But to add a note of salty, briny spiciness, often they turn to kimchi. It's a condiment that is beloved in Korea. It's also part of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Our Hungry Hound discovered how kimchi is made in Seoul, and then he found a chef here in Chicago who puts his own spin on it. Steve Dolinsky joins us with all the details. Steve.
Hey, Linda and Sylvia. Now, walk the streets of Seoul, sit down in a restaurant there, or just pop into a mall for a snack, and you will see kimchi literally everywhere. There are hundreds of variations, most involving fermented vegetables laced with chilies. Well, the tradition of salting and seasoning vegetables isn't lost on a Korean-American chef here who gives his kimchi a Midwestern accent. The freshly ground mung bean pancakes steal the show at the Dongdaemun Public Market in Seoul, but it's the endless open-air stalls filled with colorfully pungent mounds of freshly made kimchi that lure shoppers in. The spicy fermented cabbages and radishes are so revered here, there is an entire museum dedicated to the condiment where, if you plan ahead, you can don an apron and plastic gloves as I did and make your own. Homemade kimchi is one of the daily duties at Belly Q in the West Loop, where owner Bill Kim's Korean heritage plays a key role on the menu.
It adds that quick spice that a lot of people don't think about or are afraid to use, but you could use it in little minute amount to add that kind of spice to your dish.
Kim first salts a bowl of cabbage, blood radishes, some green ramp leaves, and tiny Kirby cucumbers. After they sit for an hour or so, they're soaked in water and are then squeezed dry by hand. It's a quick kimchi with a short fermentation that softens the texture of the vegetables.
I really adore, and it's a traditional way of having the Napa kimchi, but daikon, kirbies, blood radishes, I like to throw them all in there.
Kim then creates his kimchi by adding a baseline of Korean chili flakes and garlic, plus fennel seeds and garlic chives, along with some sesame oil and a hint of fish sauce. Everything is incorporated well, and once he plates it, he adds some fresh cilantro and Thai basil. The same kimchi can be added to a hearty, spicy tofu hot pot embedded with bits of bacon, giving the dish further complexity and bite.
Bacon and kimchi, I found out, that's my new classic combination. Or even we dehydrate the kimchi and use it as a seasoning salt on meats and also popcorn. So I try to use much kimchi as possible.
Now, kimchi is not limited to the city, of course. There are Korean restaurants in Glenview, Rolling Meadows, and Arlington Heights, and each one has a recipe that will be slightly different from each other, kind of like a chili recipe. And more information about Belly Q or that museum in Korea, just go to our website, abc7chicago.com. Look on the lower left side. You'll see the Hungry Hound tab right there. That links you to my stories and videos. Or call the info line, 312-750-7096. Now, I've got you a couple different kinds of kimchis here. First, from Bill Kim, he brought us a couple of his sort of newfangled Korean American kimchis.
Right.
Everything from this is edamame and rampant asparagus.
Yep. Yeah,
and then this
yummy.
over here, can you see this one? Yep, there's
like
edamame and rampant asparagus. This over here is carrot and celery and fennel. And then this over here is the Kirby cucumbers with some fennel. Really interesting. They're very vibrant and delicious. However, I brought you some traditional kimchi. This is from Wulai Oak in Rolling Meadows. This is what you would have if you were sitting down with your Korean friends and family. Everything from this fresh water kimchi over here with radish, no chilies at all, not spicy. Another white kimchi over here with no chilies is Napa cabbage, but here's that spicy Napa cabbage with the chilies that I love.
Is this what you were doing? Oh, I'm sorry.
Back here, this is the radish over here. This is more radish, but then this was the one that I was making also. In
this
Seoul,
looks like
the enormous Napa cabbage that you rub with by hand, but you got to wear the plastic gloves to really get in all the crevices.
Chili,
Yep, there's dates on top,
these
little
are
dates on top.
That's what I was going to ask you. Okay, they're dates.
You know, it's like if you like sauerkraut, if you like pickles, if you like anything fermented,
then you're going to like this.
You're going to like this, and it's so good on your system. It's all the active cultures, the lactobacilli, they say. Yes, it's really good.
Good bacteria. So, and then this, you just eat it with a knife and fork and cut it. It is a.
I would go chopsticks. It's usually chopped up like this, Sylvia. It's usually chopped up smaller, and you have it with rice and other vegetables and maybe some grilled beef and. Yeah, it's my favorite side dish.
Chopsticks, right.
Chopsticks.
Got it. Beautiful to look at, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yum.
It's gorgeous.
Very fun. Thanks, Steve.
All right, welcome.
We will be right back.
The restaurant focuses on seasonal produce. Chances are the winter months can mean some pretty slim pickings.
But now is the time for winter citrus. Most of it comes in from Florida, and local pastry chefs are using it all over their menus. In fact, we walked in and thought, this is beautiful right here. Our Hungry Hound tasted quite a few of the options, and Steve Dolinsky joins us now with the details about that. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Linda and Sylvia. Yes, this is a great time of year, actually. Now, forget the raspberries and strawberries. This time of year, dessert menus are full of satsumas, clementines, and kumquats, just a few of the tart, sweet, and citrusy elements available to cold weather pastry chefs. For pastry chefs who appreciate the seasonal shift, this time of year means citrus from the south. At Urban Union, an atypical Mediterranean restaurant on Taylor Street, hidden among the sea of Italian joints, Mitsuo Nozaki relishes the chance to use wild winter citrus on her menu.
We have a forager actually that comes around, and he was in Florida and brought that back to me. He had 6 or 7 different varieties of citrus, wild white grapefruit, the wild lemon, satsumas, tangelos, clementines.
She simply slices off the outer peel and bitter white pit, then cuts out supremes, the interior wedges of pure juicy citrus. The wild grapefruit, satsuma, and clementines are placed on top of a rich creme caramel for a delicious wintertime contrast.
I think that acidity actually cuts through it, so you can actually be able to eat a little bit more. It gives it that balance that you need.
Over at the Peninsula Hotel, just off of Michigan Avenue, winter citrus is used on each of the property's 3 restaurants.
It plays a huge role because we don't actually have a lot of fruit to work with at this time of year in Chicago.
Chen loves using kumquats this time of year and will typically candy them by covering the tiny slices in vanilla sugar syrup overnight.
Kumquats brings me back to my childhood, so it's a very important fruit in Chinese culture, especially during Chinese New Year. So I'm used to eating it raw and having kumquat trees around me. I mean, it's a tiny fruit that packs a lot of flavor, so it's sweet and tart, and most of the flavor comes in the actual peel instead of the inside of the fruit.
From Perrault Gourmet, which occupies the first floor, Chen uses the kumquats in elegant fruit tarts or embedded into mandarin macaron. Mandarins are also used in their fresh form, along with candied kumquats on top of a black sesame cake that's on the menu at Shanghai Terrace. In the spacious lobby, tea service is always popular, and a tiny hazelnut cake with citrus powder inside of it is also graced by a sliver or two of kumquats this time of year.
It's not as sweet. It has a more bold flavor, and you only need to use a little bit to get that flavor.
And some other popular winter citrus items include Caracara oranges and cocktail grapefruits. And for more information about either Urban Union or the Peninsula, just go to our website, abc7chicago.com. Look on the lower left side and see the Hungry Hound tab, which will link you to all of my stories and videos right there. Or call the info line, 312-750-7096. We're having some fun back here.
Okay, this is amazing. Jared, you take that one.
Yeah, I've never seen you go crazy for passion.
That is amazing.
That's
That's
we're
one
gonna
of the best desserts I've ever had.
All right, we'll talk about it 1 second. All right. All right, so there's a fruit tart up here from Perrault Gourmet. That's at the Peninsula, obviously on the first floor when you enter outside on Superior. And there's a little bit of candy kumquat there. But then if you move over to the front, this is the one that somebody's going crazy for.
Oh my gosh.
Passion fruit
And Linda.
mousse. With the black sesame on the bottom and the candy kumquats. It's really good.
Linda stole it from me.
Look at this. I took it away from her.
Well,
it's that big. This is all that's left of this one.
You're killing it. And then the macadamia nut cake over here with some salted caramel
yummy.
and a little crumble.
Crunchy.
It's crunchy and soft. And then there's, again, those oranges.
Are you trying to talk here?
I am. It's winter citrus time. All right. And then candy kumquats also. But I'm so glad you guys love this. This is really good.
That's the best dessert I think I've ever had.
Yeah, there it is. You can see. Okay, show her. Yeah, there's
this
the
is all
inside.
that's left.
It's really good. The passion fruit mousse.
Good.
Okay, now coming up tonight while they're eating, Chinese New Year is here, Linda. Did you know
Happy
that?
New Year.
Yes. So Gong Hei Fat Choi. And for one member, exactly, of the Chicago. One member of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. That means it's time to go find the flavors from Shanghai that remind him of growing up. You're going to see where he took me and what we ate. My Friday night special tonight at 10. The CSO just got back today, actually, from their Asian trip. They were in Shanghai and Beijing and Seoul. So we're going to talk all about that trip.